These players know what is at stake. The players want to be at the World Cup more than anybody else. But at times football can be cruel. If you go back and look at even the games that we all play from the first match, Super Eagles ought to have won all the games that they have played. Allowances are paid. For the Falcons, even before they play the final against Morocco, we make sure that as a national sports commission.
So what was the captain talking about when she said that the monies haven't been paid?
No, she didn't say so. I can show you her message there. People just
no, she was being interviewed by Chude, and she said they haven't received any money.
No, that's not correct.
And the presidential Largese?
Yeah, of course. That one is a gratis from the president at his own discretion. The president didn't come to say, "I will give you $100,000 equivalent in naira tomorrow." Right? He said, "I've awarded this to you. I awarded house to you. I awarded national honors to you. Everybody is happy." But if, for example, say the next day that money was given to them, wouldn't you be scared?
Yeah, where did the money come from? About $3 million.
That the country is not being run with that process.
Sporty greetings and welcome. That was Shehu Dikko, Chairman, National Sports Commission. That's the body responsible for administering sports in Nigeria. And Shehu Dikko leads it. For those of you who are not new to this channel, you remember I had a special interview with Dikko in June. That's about 4 months ago. Right after that interview, I asked the question, is the National Sports Commission the game changer? Can it turn around sports in Nigeria? And I remember I promised that I'll give you updates whenever Shehu Dikko visits London. Well, this is promise fulfilled. This interview is loaded. We talked about almost everything sports in Nigeria. The Super Eagles, the Super Falcons, the D Tigers, players' welfare, infrastructure development. We talked about that drama at the World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, Toby and Muson, the leadership of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, the sports federations, and the role that they can play for sports development in Nigeria. You ready? I told you I've got you covered. Let's go and join Shehu Dikko. Shehu Dikko, Chairman, National Sports Commission. It's good to have you here with me again.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Big mission in London, United Kingdom. Why is Nigeria bidding to host the Commonwealth Games in 2030?
Well, because first and foremost, the reforms and the resetting of the sports institution and structures in Nigeria has many pillars, and one of the pillars is about development of our sporting infrastructure across the country, both the ones we can do direct and the ones we can induce other people to do. And also it's about using the sports to drive the economy. And so one of the pillars of that vision, the sports structural vision, is hosting as many as we can international sporting events across all sports. Because we do that, if we do that, we create wealth across the country. And that wealth is not just wealth about sports. We create what we call the sports wealth, we create the economic wealth, we create the cultural wealth, we create the diplomatic wealth, and we create the social wealth. Because that is all what hosting of this kind of major event give you. And so this is clearly aligns with the vision of the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to restructure sports, and also as the ones doing the groundwork. So that's why we are bidding. And I tell you, we want to make Nigeria a hub of hosting all international events and tournaments. That will open the country massively. That will help us to get our infrastructure to work. That will help us to create jobs. That will help us to acquire the soft power that we need to further push Nigerian agenda across the world. So clearly, when we see the opportunity to bid for the Commonwealth, we jump into it and we are bidding for it. And there are other events and tournaments that we are bidding across that platform to do that. And I believe it's the right time for Nigeria to go on this direction. If you look at some other countries across the world that have made hosting of sports and events in their country to be one of the key pillars of driving the country, see the massive improvement in the country, see the massive jobs they are creating across the country. So why not, with our population, with our skills, with our sports? Only in Nigeria you find every sports. Almost everybody play. Almost there's one sport somebody play in Nigeria to do that. So we are sporting country. and we should use sports as a driver of the economy, and hosting events is part of it. You can see yesterday, for example, one of the major highlights of President Donald Trump's speech at the United Nations General Assembly, the ONGA, is the fact that he's telling the world that America is going to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and he's also hosting the 2028 Olympics. He's so proud to take that as part of his key pillars of his speech at the ONGA, and also now inviting the whole world to come to America and see what America is, investment, everything to do that. So there are different pillars of benefits and what have you that can come into Nigeria to do that.
And the last time I spoke to you, you were big about building the sports economy, which is the mandate given to you and your team by the president. Hosting the Commonwealth Games, instead of putting money into the economy, wouldn't that take money out of it?
No, how can you take money out of it? Because all the infrastructure you are going to build, all the investment you are going to make, isn't it being done in the country? All the expansion you are going to do, provide more sporting infrastructure, in the country. All the businesses that you can induce to start, it's all being done in the country. That is the major things of hosting the country. See what Qatar did to themselves for hosting the World Cup. When Qatar go to the World Cup and collect and say they want to host the FIFA World Cup, they have not even one single stadium that is certified to do that. Look at the investment they made. It's not in the country they invest. They opened the country across all channels. Today, if you go back to Abuja, which is one of the major cities, for example, you look at what we did with 2003 All Africa Games, for example. The whole stadium was built because of that. The Games Village was built because of that. Many roads were built because of that. Many hospitals were built because of that. Nobody would take that away.
But that took money out of the country.
Yeah, make you to do the right thing. No, but that money is not going out of the country. It's being put in the country and expanding the businesses. For example, let me go local with you. When we did the National Sport Festival in Ogun, the last one we did in Ogun, we got over 15,000 athletes and officials to go there, maybe another 5,000 fans and well-wishers, maybe about 20,000 people were in Ogun State. Everybody is bringing money, spending money on the back of the Commonwealth Games. I think at some point even Adria was missing because everybody is buying it. So that's the kind of value we bring into the system, the investors. When we hosted the African under-18, under-20 athletics championship in the same Abeokuta a few months back as well, we got over 3,000 people that came all over Africa. Everybody is bringing dollars into the economy, into the country. So we use that platform now to create and generate wealth and create what have you. That's why when I tell you about sporting wealth, which means you use it to develop your sports and get people to part of it. If you look at the economic wealth, you use it to bring down all these infrastructures, all that you need to do. That have nothing to do with sports, but they're complementary. The hotels and everything that you can, which basically are going to be even private sector driven, that will upgrade to do that. So we are all creating jobs, both for the construction and also for that when you come to do that going forward. When you look at the diplomatic world, because sports also is about diplomacy. It takes the country, break doors, break windows, make the country to be globally recognized to do that. And then you talk about the cultural world. It brings different cultures together, different people together, and stuff like that. The social world also, inclusion and what have you. So everything is right. That's the reason why countries are bidding to host all these kind of games and all over the world. Otherwise, if it is like that, nobody will bid. But the reason why people are fighting to host the World Cup to do that, when you can do a competition that will bring maybe 1 million people into your country, do you know what that means to your country? Even the visa fee they will pay to come in, it's easy to do that. So.
And infrastructure is major when you're bidding to host the Commonwealth Games. And if you look at the state of infrastructure in Nigeria, at the moment, it's poor. This is 2030 we're bidding.
It's not Nigeria we're talking about. We're talking about Abuja. Abuja is very good. We have a very good infrastructure.
Abuja the FCT is the capital of Nigeria.
So we are bidding to host in Abuja. And then also, you can see even the massive infrastructure that is going on under the watch of Mr. President with the FCT minister, Insa Wike, who is doing so much expanding the city. So that will fast track the development of the infrastructure of the city as well. And also, we have already made a decision from day one that we want to upgrade and restructure and develop all our stadiums across the country with or without the Commonwealth Games. But if you make that investment to make all your infrastructure right, what do you do with it? You have to host event and tournament. You see Morocco, for example, everything they are hosting. They are building this stadium all over the country. That because the likelihood, if you bring 1 million people into your country to watch a certain event, likelihood is that maybe 100,000 might come back at some point as tourists. That open up the country and to another channel of benefit and development as well. So that's the reason why people are bidding to do that, because it's a catalyst for economic growth, as a social growth, and what have you.
So it's Nigeria going against the city of Abuja going against Ahmedabad, I think.
Yeah, of course, we are the only Nigeria and India left, only the two. But Ahmedabad in India is the Indian bid is a city bid. Nigerian bid, the Abuja bid is a Nigerian bid. It's an African bid. There's a whole lot of difference to that.
Why is it an African bid?
Yeah, because the Commonwealth have not been hosted in Africa before. So the whole African and Commonwealth, we have about 21 countries in Africa out of the 52 countries are Commonwealth. We have the largest block, the Commonwealth block as well. But we have not hosted the Commonwealth Games before. So everybody see, look, this centenary games should be in Africa at this moment. And Abuja is not the city bid per se, because Abuja is for all Nigerians. Abuja is the capital of Nigeria. It belongs to everybody. It's the center of Nigeria. It's a bond of our unity. It's Abuja. So if Abuja is bidding, the whole country is bidding. That's how you can see how Mr. President is wholly 100% behind it and pushing his weight behind it to do that. So not many bids have those kind of support as per the government guarantees and government push like that to do that.
That's a major point. Making it an African bid, was that part of what was sold at the bidding?
Well, of course, we did that even before here. We have already said that, because there was a meeting of the African sport ministers, which I attended virtually, and all the ministers in Africa endorsed Nigerian bid, even those that are not part of the Commonwealth. They will be glad to see if the Commonwealth will happen in Africa, because only the Olympics and the Commonwealth, among the major sporting events in the world, have not been held in Africa. So it's another opening, it's another progress for Africa. So a recognition for Africa, and it's a centenary games. And you can see, if you look at some of other blocks like the Commonwealth, like for example the one built by the French is falling apart, but the Commonwealth is coming together. Even new countries are joining. I think 1 or 2 countries from Africa have joined again recently. So the Commonwealth bonding is growing better and better and stronger. So it's a good opportunity to showcase the inclusion we need, and most importantly, the Commonwealth sport have said the way they do the bidding and also the hosting. They want the hosting to be done. They don't want the countries to embark on building new structures, new facilities just because they want to host. They want to work with what you have and improve on it. And the only new facilities they want to see you doing, building or providing is only if it is part of your national developmental plan. It is something already you want to do, whether you are doing the Commonwealth sport or not. So they have already make it to look more sensible and more easy to deliver, instead of saying people need to go and build new stadia, new facilities, do that. No, anything you can build new things if you want to build, but they want it to be, it's part of what you want to do before. So work within what you have, the parameters of what you have to structure and make sure you can deliver the game.
Sounds good. Yeah. Why is President Bola Tinubu interested in this bid?
And because it's aligned to his sport vision. We are working for him. All the things that we are doing, we are delivering his vision for sports. That's the reason why he scrapped the Ministry of Sports, for example, Federal Ministry of Sport, and bring back the National Sports Commission to make it more professional. That's why he gave us the mandate that I want to see a sports economy, so that tomorrow we'll be counting our sports on the kind of jobs we create, the contribution to the GDP, how many people we are putting on the jobs, what is our global talent market contribution, and what is the domestic sports that we have activated. So clearly this, and that's with it. Once we are hosting this kind of event, it means your facilities will be in top shape, and there will be no letdown anywhere. Everything will be on the rise, and you can imagine if you go to South Korea, they will tell you what opened up the South Korean economy and the whole country is the Seoul Olympics. It's for the Seoul Olympics that is now be able to open up and now see why they are. So you can use these games actually to open your country, not just about the sports part of it, but everything to do with the investment and the infrastructure and what have you.
Wow. Okay, let's bring it to football. We'll continue to monitor the sports economy, and then hopefully, if Nigeria gets to win the bid, we'll see if it will take us closer to achieving that sports economy. You've been with football in Nigeria for quite some time, and you've been close to the Super Eagles. Now you're in charge of sports in Nigeria. What is the problem? Why is it so difficult for this current crop of Super Eagles players to give us results? Is it that they don't have the sort of welfare, the sort of support that they need?
The players are putting what they have to do. They are doing what they have to do. They just played the final of the AFCON just a year ago, plus ago, January 2024. They were in the final of the AFCON, but so these players know what is at stake. The players want to be at the World Cup more than anybody else. But at times football can be cruel. If you go back and look at even the games that we all played from the first match, Super Eagles ought to have won all the games that they have played based on the outcome of the game, the chances created and stuff like that. But the results just weren't coming. The players are more hot than anybody else on the situation where the team are. But at the end of the day, every player wants the soul, wants to play at the World Cup. Even if it's just for 30 minutes, they are once play at the World Cup to do that. So the players are ready to do that. Our job is to provide the enablers, to support the NFF, to make sure that the players were able to give their best.
And have we done that? Because players complain. They talk, they say things. Are bonuses paid? Are allowances paid?
Under our watch, yes, I can tell you yes. I don't know before us, but under our watch, definitely. Since we came in, we already have. The first thing we did is to have a sit down with the NFM and the players and agree on a bonus structure for the qualifiers, and told the players that if you qualify, this is what comes to you. If you do this much, this is what comes to you. So we have an agreement in place to do that, to motivate the players the right way, and we have made sure that as a National Sports Commission, for the match against Rwanda, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, and South Africa, what was agreed was already on the table. So there was no issue.
And after the matches, they got their money.
Absolutely. Some matches, they even got it ahead of the games. Like the game against Zimbabwe, it was paid. Like before even we played these two last games, the funding was already made available to the NFM to disburse to the players, or what was agreed. So that's no issue about that. You didn't hear any player complain the last four matches that we were in charge, because we took it very, very serious to make sure that the players are always the priority, and we have an agreement with them what will be done, and the players love the agreement and they sign up to it. So they're all playing for that. They have something to play for.
Maybe it's the previously owed monies that is causing problems.
I don't know whether it's previously owed money to that level, because last year before we came on board, that Mr. President made a huge budget available to make sure the NFL need to clear during the AFCON 24 to clear all the backlogs and everything that was done. And these players are not really playing for money per se. They play for the country. I'm telling you.
So why are we not seeing the results? It's unfortunate that most of the players won't even get to the World Cup, and this might just be the only chance that they have.
When last did you see Super Eagles haggling and arguing over money? Since for many years, since during the last NFL regime, which I was part of, that issue has been eliminated. Players understood that they'll always be paid. Even if there's delay in payment, they'll always be paid. So they are not bothered about that, but they are bothered about the result. If you see how the players feel, even after every game when they didn't get the right result, the way they react, that's when you know that they are very, very serious. Because we have dinners with them, we meet with them, and we know. So I want to assure everybody that the players are more paid and are more committed to that. But at times, football, the result will not come for you when you want it. But we have no excuse. We have no reason to say in the group that we are.
Yeah.
Lesotho, Benin, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, South Africa, we are struggling. I don't think we should have done that. If we have been very, very intentional and deliberate, the initial first four matches, the way now we are putting our eyes on the ball, along with the NFL, I think things will have been different.
That game, South Africa versus Nigeria in Bloemfontein, what sort of report did they give to you about the pitch? Did the NSC, NFF know that the game will be played on a cattle ranch?
No, we don't have the power to approve stadium.
Would they have an advance party to go?
We don't know whether you advance it or not. It's not your business. It's CAF and FIFA now approved stadiums for that kind of games. And that stadium was approved. That's why they want to play. And you know, they now play a rugby match.
Lord.
So we saw reports, even CAF, without even any prompting, CAF were thinking of moving the match out of that venue before the games because the rugby damaged the pitch. And at some point, they said they wrote a letter to say they are convinced that the work being done, the pitch will be okay. They are convinced with the progress of the pitch. So
you were there. Did you say something about it to Mosepe? Did you let him know that it wasn't good?
With the kind of infrastructure in South Africa that they have available all over South Africa, it's really actually a shame to have played like the game of that magnitude on that pitch. Not for the result that we get. Imagine four players without no fault of theirs got injured on that game. I now got injured in the first 5 minutes, and now he's out in December. Indeed, he's out. South Africa too have 2 players out, and nobody touched them. It's the pitch. It was the pitch. Nobody tackled them or something like that. It's the pitch. So I have people now will go back and check their conscience to see why did they approve this? We put the players at risk. Not just about the result, it's about the players' health. And this, so it is really bad. If South Africa doesn't have the pitches, we can understand. But they have beautiful pitches, better than this all over South Africa. In the case that even Zimbabwe and Lesotho are playing their games there. So, but then you take it to the worst pitch to play that kind of game, and somebody sign it up to say it's okay. And at the end of the day, we see how the football was it. The players were. It's the players that felt the pitch the more, and which shouldn't be. It's a big shame. It's a big shame.
Was that just dirty politics?
I don't know. I don't want to call it politics. Maybe somebody just took his eyes on the ball. Somebody who is in charge trust that the pitch. Initially, the authorities themselves, without Nigeria or Lesotho complaining, came up and said, "Look, this pitch is not playable," and even offered 3 venues for South Africa to choose between South Africa to go and play. Then, before they choose again, we see there was a report that the pitch again has been certified because the reports they got, the people certifying that there is a huge progress in the pitch. But before that game, the progress was didn't show the progress was there. But I don't know. I think we need to be taking it more serious because you see, CAF is also very, very serious about that. That's why many countries are not playing in their own country because their stadium will not meet up to that requirements to do that. So I think somebody just took his eyes off the ball who was supposed to do that, and maybe was convinced that the work being done will make the pitch playable better. But fortunately, it was not. And I have to be sorry for the players that got injured and now their careers and they are playing because some of them might go back. Get well by the time they go back to their clubs. Their position is lost.
Exactly.
For no reason.
Look at
4 players, 2 from both sides. Africa get 2.
Look at Ola, for instance, Nottingham Forest, they have a new coach. He hasn't played under the guy. By the time he's coming back, he will need to come fight back for his shirt. And
no fault of his.
Oh, shame.
And there's the pitch that Indeed did the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think we should be more careful next time. That respect the authorities who are in charge of certifying those things. So there's no reason to play rugby on that pitch when it is already scheduled to play this kind of important matches in the qualifiers, decisive matches in the qualifiers.
Let's talk about the Super Falcons and the D Tigers. Have they received all of the bonuses from the WAFCON and the AfroBasket Championship?
What do you mean by bonuses?
All their money, all the allowances, all the talks.
Of course. The allowances are different from the grants from the president.
Yes, I'm going to get to that.
They're 2 different things.
I know, that's why I'm starting.
Allowances are paid. For the Falcons, even before they play the final against Morocco, we make sure that as a national sports commission.
So what was the captain talking about when she said that the monies haven't been paid?
No, she didn't say so. I can show you her message there. People just
no, she wasn't being interviewed by Chude, and she said they haven't received any money.
No, that's not correct. Very, very incorrect. I can show you her message. There were monies. There was a press release from the presidency itself, even before they played the final.
Okay.
That all the monies for their bonuses for the entire tournament, we released it to the NFF and asked them to pay them before the Friday, and the final was on Saturday, if you can remember. And NFF did that. NFF called them and said, "We want to pay you." And some of them have said, "Oh, we want to be paid. We want to be paid our money in dollars." It's because we live abroad. So the monies have to be transferred to CBN, $10 and pay them. But everybody got his money. All the legitimate monies they're supposed to earn for the tournament was paid to them before they play the final. So including even the final, we pay them ahead of time. So there was no issue of that. That's why no player could say that.
Same with the Tigers.
The Tigers, we agree with them what they will get if they win the trophy. That's they were in our office, myself and the Director General, they sat down with them and have a chat and agree a structure for them. Okay, you're going to Cote d'Ivoire. If you win, this is what we pay you. So we agree on the bulk winning bonus to deliver the trophy, which was a motivation to them because it's more than almost double than what they could have got if they collect the bonuses. Almost double, almost nearly 40% above what they could have got. And they say yes, they agree with that because they know they want to deliver the trophy, and we're happy to do that. And the moment they came back with the trophy, we paid them that money.
Good.
So there was no. Did you hear any Tigers talking about?
No, I didn't hear the Tigers, but Super Falcons.
So do you hear any players saying they haven't got the
no, but you know, players can also be funny. After with this clarification now,
let me tell you. Some of the players, because of the family issues and pressure, they don't want to be saying they had money in public. How many players did you see to come and say, "Oh, we have been paid"? Not even the Tigers, even before. It's one day I will be paid, they talk about it.
Yeah.
But once they are paid,
so people will come to them.
Because there are pressures everywhere. People are waiting for them. Even the captain said so. Even the captain in that interview said, look, already they have bills. They had bills maybe 10 times than the money they are expecting because family and friends and everybody looking for bills. So you leave it at that. I don't, even myself, I don't like talking about bonuses and everything.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that we pay it at the right time. And we
Sounds good.
Even our team that went to athletics championship just now, they got their money as they're there. The bonus.
Okay, all right, good. And the presidential Largese?
Yeah, of course. That one is a gratis from the president at his own discretion. The president didn't come to say, "I will give you $100,000 equivalent in naira tomorrow," right? He said, "I've awarded this to you. I awarded house to you. I awarded national honors to you. Everybody is happy." But if, for example, say the next day that money was given to them, wouldn't you be scared?
Yeah, where did the money come from? About $3 million.
That the country is not being run with that process. So there has to be a process for the money to come in. And what is the process? As the president make that promise, make that grant gratis to the reward to the team, we now went back as the commission, collected all their account numbers, direct account numbers, validated it to make sure it's our own account numbers, and then collected their own validated addresses, so that's the addresses, and I now raise a memo to Mr. President. Say these are the account numbers of these ladies, because at the end of the day we have to agree. These are the people you promised. The 24 players, the 11 coaches, and whatever. These are their validated account numbers in their names and their banks. These are their validated addresses. So please, Mr. President, kindly now approve and direct the Minister of Finance to source the money and pay the money direct into their account. Kindly direct and approve and direct the Minister of Housing to now make the allocation of the houses to these addresses. Kindly direct the Minister of Special Duties to make the allocation, to write the reward for the national honors, the list of national honors. So that memo have to go through a process. Then Mr. President now duly approved and direct the Minister of Finance and the Accountant General to source the money and pay into this account direct. Direct the Minister of Housing to do that, and this memo was sent to all the relevant people to act based on the approvals and directions of Mr. President. So as we speak, everything is being processed. And already I had a meeting with the Minister of Housing. He has already identified the houses and blocked them for the girls. So they will now issue them the title documents in their names.
So these houses will be in Abuja?
Yeah, Abuja.
Okay, because the president didn't specify.
No, they said everybody wants Abuja. The new housing. Then the Minister of Finance will also, the Accountant General of the country, will pay the money direct individual accounts and give us the final document paid so we can tell the girls they have been paid. And then the Minister of Special Duties will issue the letters for our national honors. So that's the process is being done. Now, the Minister of Finance has gotten the memo. He has to do his own process as well, Accountant General, to make sure there are proper documentation. and the proper records of these payments. The same thing with Minister of Housing. Everybody is doing everything. So
Okay.
I'm sure within the next few weeks, he will confirm to you
Yeah.
that the girl, because
I'll ask again.
the
I
girls-
like this answer, but we'll
because
ask
the
again.
girls, ladies might not be coming in public to say, "Oh, I like how come don't like do," because if they do that, it's a pleasure on themselves.
Yeah.
And I love that they need to make sure they put their money to right use and hide it,
Yeah.
not to share it to family and friends.
Unfortunately,
they need to invest their money for their future.
Yeah.
So
You mentioned the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, so let's talk about it. Tell me, were you disappointed with the Athletics Federation of Nigeria for the way they handled Nigeria's preparation?
well, they did what they have to do within the context of
Was it a standard you wanted?
It's not a standard. We always want to do better. And it's a learning process. But what do we have to do as a commission? Is provide the enablers, which we did. We supported. We make sure we give them the resources that we can support them to do what they have to do, and then they try to do and then we are very meticulous about it. For example, they wanted to go with 28 athletes and everything, but we have to sit down, the DG sit down to say, look, let's be realistic. We can't take people on Jamboree, for example. Who are the likely people that will compete? Even if they don't get a medal, they will compete because we are not really prepared the way we want to do it. So that's the reason why it was pruned down to 15 athletes, because only the ones that can be able to push are likely, maybe if they get a medal, they will be in the finals. So do that. And so at the end of the day, that was it. And this issue of the kits and everything.
What did the AFN tell you about the kits?
It's not really what people are thinking. I know what they were doing. Initially they had the Puma deal that was signed before. If you know the records or the problems with it, so that Puma deal have never really activated the way it should. So they actually went with the Puma kits. But the Puma kits, they're just being activated. It's just being activated to now be able to see whether Puma can come back in the big way. So when they went there, but as they're doing there, they now have this offer from the high racer, the high racer deal. Like, can I come on board? Say, look, we want to see if we can work with you for a long time, so we can supply you the kits, and then this is the bonuses that is in play. We will pay 30,000 per any athlete that we give them that got a gold medal. Any athlete that got silver is 20,000. Any athlete that got bronze is $10,000, and then there's even 2,000 participating in the semi-final and the final and stuff like that. And then they'll supply the kits for free. So if you are the president of the Athletes Federation, will you not take that?
I'll take it, but is that why they should provide that sort of kit?
No, they take it when they take the deal. They said they'll supply the kit. Remember, these kits are not bought; are free. And they said because it's a deal that was done quickly, so the kits are coming in batches, because it was something that was done quickly as a test run, and the thing that was coming in batches. And at the end of the day, all the athletes were given the full complement of their kits and stuff like that. And it's not only Nigeria that's using the high racer. More than 12 countries in the same, or 20 countries, I think, in the same federation competition were using the same kits. And at the end of the day, our athlete that got the silver medal earned about $24,000 as bonus wearing those kits. So it's a good deal at some point. Where I hold the Athletes Federation accountable, to be able to quickly sit down with the athletes and explain to them, this is the deal we do now quickly. These things are coming to you in batches. This is what the athletes will know. That's where I hold them. There should be more interaction and conversation between the athletes and the federation. That's why we have the athlete rep in the federation's board.
That's right.
So that they can inform them quickly what is going on. Because the athletes will have been happy. Because now our star girl have earned $24,000. I'm sure she'll be happy to receive it. And I hope if she receives it, she can do a video at least to say I've received it.
Okay.
The way she did the video for the kids.
Hey, well done. If you've watched to this point, then you're doing well. I'm sure you've been seeing the subscribe notification. Don't ignore it. Please subscribe and become a member of this beautiful community that I call the Fun Factory. Okay, have you subscribed? You did? Good job. Now let's get back to Shehu Dikko. Do you have an idea what was contained in a pack that was given to the athletes?
Yeah, no, I can show you. I can give you the video to use on the interview.
Yeah,
I have everything. Everything, the full complement. Didn't the athletes use it for the whole time? For the whole
so was it the real thing Toby showed us? She brought just a pack that
no, that's the kits were being delivered in batches because these days they don't just deliver kits to athletes like that. They deliver to your size. Unlike before, when you see athletes wearing, especially in other sports, that will do that. So they deliver. At the end of the day, everybody got the full kits, the bags, everything came.
So why didn't the NSC or the AFN just do something, do a video conversation? Don't you think we need to improve with our communication?
I did. We didn't want to get in at the height of the competition to tell the athletes. So we wait until we see where we are going. Towards the end, I did several interviews on Arise and able to clarify this. The Athletes Federation also issued a detailed statement. But you see, because people thrive on this news that the bad news, I think, thrive more than the good news. So nobody wanted to. How many people even quoted the bonuses that the Athletes Federation issued in their statements? Nobody. Everybody ignored that. They hit on the bad news to get it because some people are doing it for whatever it is. But that's the Athletes Federation should have been ahead of the crowd to be able to put this forward to everybody at the end of the day. And we know we have to improve with that. But the fact of the matter is that people should know that these kits are not bought. As somebody even went and published the budget of the National Sport Commission. Look at the budget, and they are buying this kit. No, we didn't buy this kit. They are not bought, and we are not even responsible for the sponsorship. It is the individual federation that's supposed to negotiate for the athletes. At this elite level, you don't buy kits. Somebody sponsor you and give it for free and pay you money to use it. That is why it's called elite sports. If at this level you have to buy kits, then something is very wrong with the way you are doing the sports. So it's like the NFL and Nike, for example. It's Nike that gives everything for free to the players and pay bonuses, pay money for wearing something like that here. So nobody bought it. Nobody take any billions of budget as people are putting outside. Oh, they spend billions to buy these kids, and they are buying not the one the athletes are not like. It's not correct. So sponsored kits is for free, and there's bonuses that was attached to it. And the Athletes Federation, I think, were sensible enough to say, let's try it. Maybe after the tournament, we can now sign a proper and long-term deal with the IRS. And it's not a roadside company. It's one of the growing global companies of this business. And many countries, including in the same tournament, were using the same thing. People always want to try on the negative. I saw somebody on X, for example, that started insulting Nigeria. Now we are using PIN to put the label, the name tag. We are using PIN. But that's not Nigeria. In the entire athletes there, with PIN that we use. But the guy didn't even go there, but just because he wants to run down the system and to do that. So, but we need to improve with that.
That's right.
To make the communication more.
I'm glad you accept.
More clear.
Yeah.
For the athletes
communication,
and
particularly the federations. As the leader of the NSC, I really do think you should push this. Let them understand that they need to be transparent. They need to be accountable.
Remember, part of our pillars or reforms is restructuring the federations, and already part of what we try to do is to make sure that each federation have a chief operating officer who is mainly like doing the strategy, the marketing, and everything to make sure they are run properly. So to bring somebody from the private sector to join the federation, also the private sector background, to make sure that everything is done the right way. It's the right way to do that. So part of that, and then also you need to keep training the secretaries and everything who run the federation on a day-to-day basis to do more. Definitely that structure had to be improved. But once they finish the elections now, because they have a term now to work with, we will collaborate more and work with them and put them on their toes, including ensuring that each federation have a proper media officer that can be able to communicate timely and appropriately to the people to understand clearly what it is. I'm sure if even the federation or the athlete rep on the federation have engaged there are only 15 athletes, and I'm sure they have a WhatsApp group. Somebody will have just go in the WhatsApp group and explain to them, this is what we are doing with this. Toby wouldn't have got that that emotional about her, about what she received, because she's top athletes for us, and our star girl.
That's the only girl that won us the medal.
At the end of the day, even herself, when she find out, was that like that? In private, she spoke to the president, spoke to the DG who was there, and she now explain that she understood what was going on, and maybe next time she'll be more measured too on her own.
And that's because they failed them for too long, you know.
Well, but now it's a new system going, which the same thing before that we are having, for example, with the Super Eagles.
Yeah.
They always, but by the time the confidence was built in the NFL, now we can see nobody is haggling about money or this, even the defaults. It doesn't work that way. So that confidence has to be built for the athletes to understand that there's also a code of conduct that they have to behave. If she received that, why do that video, for example? I've just called the president because they have a father and daughter relationship even with the president. Say, President, what's going on here? What's this? And demand for answers, which she could have gotten. But to do that video, and I don't know what purpose that video went to do, because you still have to rest in the tournament. But I can tell you the hairdresser, they got free adverts. That video is negative on us. It was positive on them.
I first saw it on the Algerian athlete. I thought, oh, this is actually a brand that is pushing. So
it's a brand that everybody was using.
Every brand wants a bad news that we actually push them. So for them, it was good.
At the end of the day, it was good for them, but it's bad for us because that shouldn't be happening at this age.
I know. Particularly the kids issues, a big problem. The Super Falcons suffered it in Morocco. They are training kids.
No, in Morocco, that is the custom that held it.
But why always us?
Yeah, because it's part of the game of the policy. Somebody wanted to settle our team because we have identified as a potential threat, and at the end of the day, we end up as a potential threat, and we won the cup. So be it. But next time we will be the NFL. The NFL have to be more proactive.
That's what I'm saying. You have to have oversight function. You follow up. You do your risk analysis.
Because for us to host a tournament like that, you have to give all the letters and guarantees that will not happen. All the countries can bring in their goods and go out with it. So the customs in Morocco were actually overzealous to do that and release our kids only towards the semi-final.
Okay, let's talk about the federations and their elections. I'm sure you know this is a very thorny subject in Nigeria's, sports administration. Have you been pleased with the level of leadership that you've been seeing emerging from the elections?
Yeah, well, it's about the stakeholders. So long the election is fair, it's transparent, there's no manipulation. Whoever the stakeholders put forward for us, we will work with them and support them to succeed. Because we believe if the federation succeed, we succeed. If they fail, we fail. You can see now the AFN have a glitch somewhere. But at the end of the day, it is Dikko they are calling everywhere. While Dikko was not the one in that. Dikko today, Olapade tomorrow, this one. So, so we are vicariously liable to what they do. So we have to have an interest to make sure that the right people are there to do. But we are not going to interfere in the elections or to go and say, oh, this candidate, that candidate. We want a peaceful election whereby the stakeholders can be happy and say this is the person who now want to lead us, so that everybody will support the person to lead well. And then we will also provide all our support to make sure they succeed. So you can see for the first time, elections is happening all over the place, and there is little issues like that, major issues that will create a bad narrative for the sport. Yeah, of course, it's normal. Once there's an election, somebody will lose. And once somebody lose, somebody will say, oh, they did this. Some people doesn't want to accept defeat with grace. And we have to learn to do that, because sport is about a family election. It's not politics where you say this is my party, that your party, or this it's about the same sport you're trying to get better. So somebody must lead, and once the person emerge, then everybody in the sports, that industry, that particular sport, have to rally for the person to succeed. Because if the guy failed, your sport is dying. So people need to know that. But yeah, people will always murmur and do that.
But the Gymnastic Federation, they're saying they've had their elections and there are issues that they need to conduct another round. What reports do you have on that?
Well, we're looking into that. See what happened. We're looking into that. See what happened. The NOC, the commission, and the new people that were elected, we are all having the conversation to look at what the rule says. What do they do? What are the issues? And make sure everything is within the rules and regulations. So it's not like an issue that cannot be resolved, and it's not even an issue to me, to be honest.
What are you hearing about basketball leadership? Because people are also saying that it seems Musa Kida wants to do a third term, and I'm sure you know the problems, the issues that basketball in Nigeria is suffering. You are the leader of sports in Nigeria. Shehu Dikko, what are you doing as regards the administration of basketball?
You can see the way we are collaborating with the basketball. Even last week before I came to London, last Saturday I was in Lagos in the finals of the Zenith Bank Women Premier League with the basketball. So we're supporting to make sure they deliver on the mandate to not just do the internationals but also do the domestic sport the right way. So we are putting there. And then at the end of the day, it's about the rules and regulations, it's about the stakeholders. But I can tell you, Kida has been amazing for basketball, for what the sacrifices he has put it together. Which people might not see outside. I've seen the humongous amount of resources, personal resources that he has put on the table over the years in supporting the sport. I have the records. It's very huge, very huge. Very few people can be able to do that. So he's not bragging about it. So at the end of the day, it's about the stakeholders. They have to come together and make sure that whatever happens at the end of the day is what is good for the basketball, for the progress of the basketball. And I'm sure the basketball stakeholders should be happy. The former basketball player for Nigeria, their own president now has been also found worthy by the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to be appointed chairman of the NNPC. That is the lifeline of the country. And so if he can attend that position, it means he can put that for basketball to make it work better. So the stakeholders should be happy to have that kind of person leading them, I'm sure. So by the end of the day, it's about the rules. It's about what the stakeholders want. We don't have interest to go and impose anybody anywhere about the ours to provide the enablers.
So what do you?
I've been through federation elections before at my own level, and I know. So I wouldn't.
You know what you saw.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get. I wouldn't gonna get involved to do anything. Nobody will tell you I've called him and say this, that, oh my DG or whatever. We always try to stay above board in that. Provide the enablers and make sure that everything works the right way.
But you guys need to know what's going on, because when it becomes problematic, then it comes to you.
We won't allow it to become problematic. The right conversation will be held with the right people, the federations, ourselves, the NOC, the Joint Olympic Committee, and some of the stakeholders to make sure they look, what is the issue in play? Okay, what are we going to do?
So with what you know, is Kida right to go for third term?
Well, we haven't reached there yet. So when he really comes there, then we can speak about it. At this moment, we are only thinking about making basketball good. And people need to look at what happened before. If you don't look at what happened before, about the story about when they said the election, when they say he can't resume, he has to do the international, somebody have to do domestic. All those have to be taken into account to see what's really the issue at the moment. Because I'm sure his first term was almost zero as per the administrative body because of the crisis, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's about the stakeholders, about the world body, about the NOC to make sure that the right thing is done.
We'll keep monitoring that. But I want to get your take on this. There's another argument that you talked about the profile of Musa Kida, and there's an argument that those kind of persons are too busy to even run a federation. Now I hear Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance, likely to become the boxing federation president, the CG of customs, looking at wrestling. From your own understanding, from a leadership point of view, are those the sort of personalities we need to run sports in Nigeria?
These are all stakeholders. The sport. They're not coming from the moon. Wale Edu, before he becomes minister or commissioner in Lagos 20-something years ago, he was a boxer. Professional boxer. He has done professional boxing before. He has fight before. It's his sport. He has been a member of the board of the Boxing Federation before he becomes minister. So does that mean if he's minister and he feels he wants to contest, he should say, oh no, you're a minister, I can't contest. The people in the sport, as I said, they should be happy that somebody within their sport have risen to this level where he can use his personality to attract the right people, the right support for the sport to do that. So if you want to contest, why not? It's his own right to do that. He's allowed to do it, and it's a good profile for the sports. Right?
Are you just only looking at the financial side that they'll be able to?
See, somebody
we don't have the time.
If somebody's not having the time, that's why they have a board. They have a secretariat. The president is not a day-to-day work that you sit there and do that. No, they have a general secretary. They have a international rep. They have the technical person all on the board who are doing the day-to-day work to get the sport to work. You just need a leader who will ride well, who will lead well, and show the way to get the sport to work. That's basically what the presidents are supposed to do. You get the point to do that. Look at the custom CG. He has been a stakeholder in the wrestling field. It's not like coming because he's CG. Even before he's CG, he's there. So does that mean being CG, you cannot, if you really want to support the sport that he loves, that he's been part of, cannot be able to do that? We need to attract more people like that into the sport, to be honest. We need to attract more serious people like that. We need to change the narratives. We need to clean out. And do you think if we are not doing the right work we are doing at the NSC, these people will be interested to be part of it? Do you know how many people that have come to be say, oh, I want to be part of this federation because I want to contest election here? People that you think they are corporate people that will not have time for that sport, but because they have seen the reforms, they have seen the new direction sport is taking, and everybody is taking interest about it. I've got, for example, a former chairman of FIRS that, oh, I want to be this. I want to be about the sport, and I want to check the person has been a stakeholder in the sport, funding academies, funding people. I was even trying to talk about, oh, even last week, some of our athletes travel abroad to do that. Yeah, I supported them now. I bought their tickets. And you get the point. So we need to clean our sport to that level where we can attract this kind of people to say they will be part of the sport. Even Musa Kida, who was a former national team player, former managing director of deputy director of Total, now president, chairman of NNPC, he has played the sport for Nigeria. You can't say because he's holding this position, he can't be here. No, the sport should be proud to have this kind of people from the corporate world, from the government side that want to be interested in our sports. Well, at the end of the day, we'll have a convergence with the right people. They will provide the leadership and provide the platform for the people around them to be able to get the sports to move the right way.
Okay, we'll see. You talked about school sports, grassroots sports, and the collaborations you're having with the Ministry of Education. Where are we with that project?
Yeah, of course. A joint committee is already working, bringing out the strategy, bringing out the document and the implementation plan. If you have followed, you have seen the Minister of Education has already made a couple of statements recently on all this and stuff like that. So the whole plan is being now put together to be that is the delivery plan. So what we have working now is like a project delivery team that is working to deliver on that. So everything is going according to plan. And the last time I checked, I think we even supported the Nigerian University Games. Nigerian University students to travel to Germany to participate in the World University Games as part of the process. So everything is being worked in detail to make sure it's sustainable, including even thinking about what kind of regulations we can put to drive the school sports and create jobs. For example, we had a conversation with the Minister of Education that, okay, if very soon now the Ministry of Education will come with a requirement that no primary school or secondary school should be registered if they don't have a PE teacher, at least two. In primary school level alone, you are creating over 1 million jobs. And then, but if you get those PE teachers, okay, how do you train them? So now we have to ship them to NIS, Nigerian Institute of Sports. And we have to decentralize the NIS to make sure that every zone in the country have training centers and everything to do that. So imagine this kind of thinking. The same thing with the secondary schools, the same thing with that and everybody like that. So we are all thinking in the long term, sustainable basis, not just to go and start playing games in schools and what have you. No, what kind of legislation, what kind of roadmap can be put on a sustainable level that will ensure that whether I'm there, whether the Minister of Education is there, this thing will run by itself to do that. So that's what we are working on at the moment.
Okay, we'll see. But do you think it's possible to have sports in our school curriculum?
Yeah, of course. It's part of what we are looking at. We even got data that in the whole sports should be really taking that serious. But if you do that, where are the PE teachers? That's why we have to break the regulation to require that. Where are the sport field? So every school, we will not have a field. You have to go and sign contract with a field somewhere where the student can go there and train before you can acquire your own field to do that. So all these regulations have to be put in place to make sure that they are enforced to the maximum.
Let's go back to your sports economy. And the last time we talked about it, we said we identified the Nigeria Premier Football League as one that we can actually look at. And you and I know that it's in a dying state. Look at our teams playing on the continent, for instance. They can't even play. They don't even have stadium where they can play that that will meet CAF standards. And as the NSC, you hold that regulatory role, that supervisory role. What are you doing to ensure that at least we have proper stadiums to play MPFL matches?
That's why we are putting a lot of effort in make sure that we bring back our infrastructures to rightly. Make sure that the vision we say we at least in each zone of the country there should be one stadium that can host international matches. And we are already delivering on that, both directly, indirectly, and induced. For example, now if you go to Kaduna, for example, Ahmadu Bello Stadium, if you are followed, we have worked with Kaduna State government to see how we can revive it. And already the Kaduna State government have awarded a huge contract to get it back to life, to make it internationally compliant. Bauchi State, the same thing. We are working to get the power Balewa with the government, to hand over to them, and then they invest, and then we see how we can put it and get the private sector to get to run it, to do that. Obafemi Awolowo Stadium, Ibadan, working on that. So we are all doing that, and then what we are doing now, we are inducing others. So I have had conversation with several governors from Plateau to Sokoto, Bayelsa, who's already awarded this contract and building on it, Niger and what have you, Cross River. Everybody wants to now invest in sports infrastructure, and we are telling them the importance of that. And then we are coming up with the whole plan to do that. So they're already working on that. And so, but this is not built like tomorrow. It takes time to build this, but we are working on that. We have set the stage, and already work is going across the country. Lagos Stadium, we are already giving it to private sector. We are doing the paperwork. That will invest to get it back on track and get it.
Testing Balogun Stadium.
No, Teslim Balogun is for the Lagos State government.
Yeah, National Stadium.
National Stadium, that's the one we are talking about. So we are all working on that to do that. And part of the review we are doing for the NSC Act, as I said earlier, is the fact that we'll create what we call the National Sports Infrastructure Development and Management Agency, or a board that will be in charge of just working with all the stakeholders to make sure all our stadiums that are being built are properly built within the context of the parameters of the standards of FIFA and CAF. That they can be certified, and then how could they be made sustainable? So we are all working on that.
But who approves those stadiums? Look at the stadium in Umuahia. Look at the stadium in Minna. Look at the stadium in Ilorin. Who approves those sort of playing surfaces for us to? How will that help you and this sports economy?
That one is not out of remit. The people managing the league and the NFL will have to approve that. But at the end of the day, when we set up that, what we are setting up, before any stadium is certified to play professional sports, it must meet those requirements. So even at the top there, we will knock up a little stadium because you must give it certification to play. So if you don't have the certification, we can't play our domestic sports there. So everybody will be forced to do what they have to do that. But at the end of the day, they have to make sure they do the right thing and make sure that we play our games in the right surfaces, the right stadium.
Right.
But you can see a lot of states are investing in this. Almost every state now, because of the work we are doing, want to invest in sport infrastructure. Even the FCT, last 3-4 weeks, myself and the FCT minister were launching the total revamp of the FCT sporting infrastructure. It's building 3 multi-purpose sporting infrastructure across the FCT, and it's also revamping Area 3, revamping the Area 10 stadium. So it's all the induced work we are doing to get things done. But this can happen overnight.
It's taking too long. Do you think the league will be profitable?
Well, we are collaborating and working to get that. The last time I was in London, I was having a conversation with one of the big brands that will come and help. I will even sign an interim agreement that will come, the people that have helped to shape the Premier League, so that we can work together with the NFF and the league to make sure we put and some private sector support that we get this done. We have the ideas. I run the league before, and I know what we wanted to do before things went south. So we will support to make sure that the league come back to what it is. I'm removing the first issues, broadcast issues, infrastructure issues, and everything, so that you can make it very commercial.
So, because the public come to the media with these questions, and we need to provide answers. What do you know about the GTI deal? What is it about? I know when you were in the NFL with Amaju Pinnick, that conversation came up. But now we just hear that GTI sponsors the league. But what is that deal all about?
Well, I think you need to direct the questions to the people managing the league to give the
Were you the chairman of the
proper
NSC?
answer to do that. What is it all about? From what I know, they said it was a strategic deal. They said, meaning GTI are not like sponsors; they're like investors who are investing money like a loan, hoping that the league will make money at some point, and then they can now amortize their money back. So I think that is what it is, but it needs to be put the right way so that we can make sure at the end of the day, both the GTI and the league are safe. When we are in the NFM, when we start the conversation of getting GTI to settle the Football Development Fund, it's about setting up an independent private equity fund that investors and people who want to invest in sporting business line of sport can go there and access resources and now invest, and then they can share revenues with that. So, but now, the way it's being done, I think more conversation needs to be done to get it, to make sure it's realigned to the right way.
We'll continue to monitor that also. Let's wrap up with, I saw the Minister of the Creative Arts also supporting this bid. What sort of partnership can sports have with that ministry that can be beneficial to the country?
Sport is arts, it's creative, it's tourism, it's everything. So there has to be a synergy between the sports and arts and culture and tourism and stuff like that. So sports also is culture, because the way you build a sport, the way you drive your culture. So we have to have close collaborations together. That's why you see the minister being involved a lot in what we do, because our jobs overlaps. Together we promote what you do, we promote what you do, and we align to work together. And she was here today also supporting the bid. And we have signed an MOU already between us and the ministry to see how we can provide to them a possibility within the national stadium to site one of the cultural and sports arenas they want to build, which they have find the funding to do that. So at the end of the day, Mr. President have want to see proper collaboration across all agencies that will collaborate, overlap to deliver on the mandate. So we always work together in close collaboration to make sure we deliver on this mandate. And where our work aligned, we put our heads together to make sure it's done.
Shehu Dikko, Chairman, National Sports Commission. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best with the Commonwealth bid. Hopefully the next time we'll talk, we'll be talking about Nigeria hosting the games.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully, God willing.
Awesome. Thank you.
It will be a big milestone.
We'll see.
We can get this done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that was a comprehensive chat. Unfortunately, Nigeria lost the bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. Hey, it's all good. I'm sure there were vital lessons to keep. Once again, I want to say thank you to Shehu Dikko for his time, and of course you for going the distance with us. I'm sure you had one or two things, to keep as regards sports development in Nigeria. So what's your take? Is Nigeria sports on the right track? I'll see you around again. That's it.